Hello, everyone. Welcome to this BC user group webinar here with Turnkey Technologies. Today, we are just, honored by the presence of Jumi Falade, one of our BC lead consultant here at Turnkey, and as well as support from Bob Starr, who's also a BC consultant here at Turnkey. We're honored to have them with us today, showing you some new features, year-end closing processes, and much more. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Jumi here.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is our D365 business user group session. Also just going through the year-end process in Business Central. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So there you go. So the agenda for today, really, we're just going to be focusing on the analysis mode, and my screen is also on this on the other end too. So I'm just going to be looking back and forth. So I'm not. You guys don't think I'm not paying attention here. But yeah, so we're going to be looking at the analysis mode in Business Central, Copilot. Those are pretty new features, not super new, but they are new features. And of course, the year-end process, because we are pretty much, approaching year-end in 2024. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Perfect. So now, what is analysis mode? It pretty much is a feature that enables users to analyze and interact with data directly from Business Central. Now, of course, you can read through the slides, but it has many benefits to it, and of course, multiple use cases to it. So it helps you, filter data, group data. You can even pivot data from any list page in Business Central. When I say list page, I'm talking vendor ledger entries, your posted sales invoice page, your posted purchase invoice pages. So you can pretty much just do a lot of analysis within all your list pages in Business Central, and that will really just help reduce error and reliance on third-party tools. You can even analyze data without having to export it out to Excel. Okay. It also helps you stay up to date with insights and, for decision making. So let's move on to the next feature here. Okay, so now the Copilot mode, that's AI in Business Central. I'm sure everybody knows what AI is. It pretty much is up and coming. I will say this though, AI can make mistakes. That's perfectly fine, but it also kind of just helps with reducing human errors. In this case, Copilot, it has multiple use cases. I guess my favorite about Copilot is just the fact that it saves you time by automating routine tasks. It pretty much just is a virtual assistant. You can also use AI to ask, in Business Central, for example, you can ask, hey, how can I create a purchase invoice or a sales invoice? It will literally give you step-by-step process to go through with creating a purchase invoice. Also, if you are curious as to how many, open invoices you have in the system, you can also ask, how many do I have? How many customers do I have in the system? How many vendors do I have in the system? So if you wanted to know how many sales quotes you have open in the system, you can also do that. So it does have multiple benefits to it. It reduces, human error, and also it helps saves time, big time. Okay, let's move on to the next one. And then lastly, it's the year-end process. It pretty much is a critical procedure in Business Central to close your financial book. And of course, prepare for the new year. At the end of the day, you need to review your accounts, make sure all your transactions are posted in Business Central, make sure all your accounts are reconciled in Business Central. And then, of course, you do the close income statement feature in Business Central that transfers all the balances into your retained earnings account. And all you'd have to do after that would just be to post the transaction. So let's go ahead and get right into doing the demo in Business Central. And I will go as slow as I can. So let's do this. So now, first thing first, I am going to navigate to, let's say, the vendor ledger entries. Okay, so let me go into my vendor ledger entry, and where I'm going to right here is pretty much where all my vendor transactions gets posted into. So if you post an invoice, credit memo, payments for a specific vendor, it all goes into the vendor ledger entries window. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. Ooh, I already had it open. Okay, let's turn that off real quick. So When you pull up your vendor ledger entry, this is what it looks like. You can filter on here without the analysis mode, but I want to use the analysis mode. And to turn that on would be to use this little icon right here where you can click on it and it says enter analysis mode. So when you click on that, it pulls up this little view on here. It pretty much is very similar to what we just saw before I clicked on it. First of all, I want you to notice it's giving you a total roles down here. Okay, and you can see our friend right here, Copilot, already showing up. But I'm not really going to use it in this window, but I'm just going to show you the analysis mode first. We'll go on to the Copilot, and then we'll go right into closing the year in Business Central, the year-end process. Okay, so down here, you can see how many rows you have in here. I do want to point out that the analysis mode pretty much works with a maximum of 100,000 lines. So if let's say you do have like 300,000 lines in here, you might want to filter on, let's say, the year 2023 or the year 2024. So that way you only focus on just that. Well, I'm hoping the entire year of 2024, you don't have more than 100,000 lines, but you can filter specifically first before you get right into the analysis mode. That's the only limitation with it. And then of course you have the, if I scroll all the way down here, I will see my total row. There you go. So I can see my totals right here for my original amounts. If I scrolled, oh, my remaining amount also shows the same amount. So that's fine. But I just wanted to point out that you can see the total amount on this last row right here. So let's talk about this real quick. So I can see my posting date. I can see document dates, all this other columns in here. I can remove columns I don't need to see. So if, for example, I'm not really using any of my dimensions, I can definitely uncheck those boxes here. Okay, so pretty much unchecking the boxes here pretty much removes the column that you don't need to see. And you can uncheck as much as you need, but let's go ahead and just focus on filtering on this. So first of all, I want to group by vendor name. Okay, so if let's say I want to see everything relating to the vendors with regards to open invoices, let's go ahead and get that done. So I can click on this little icon right here. It's really next to each of the columns. Okay, so when you click on this little icon, you have the option to freeze the columns. Okay, if you wanted to, it's very similar to what you would see in Excel. You can auto size the columns, and where I'm really actually trying to go would be to group by the vendor name. So now that I've grouped it by the vendor name, I would see everything in that vendor, I guess, yeah, relating to that vendor. And let me sort. Okay, so sorting is just as easy as clicking on the name on the column itself, and it sorts it out for you. Okay, and then if I wanted to make sure I'm only seeing exactly what I need, which is the values, because right now this is showing me all the possible values in Business Central, and I don't need to be seeing that. So I can take out 1099, remove all the columns I don't need. What I really need to see would be like my amounts, so like my original amount and maybe my remaining amount. So remaining amounts. Let me remove all of this. Perfect. So now the remaining amount in this case pretty much indicates that the invoices are open for that specific vendor, okay? Meaning you haven't paid it off, okay? So if I look very closely, this one has an original amount of 2071, remaining amount of 2071. That tells me I have not paid it yet. The other ones that say 0, that tells me I've paid it already, or maybe I have maybe applied a credit memo to it. Okay, so let me go ahead and make this more fine-tuned. If I wanted to just see, let's see, I'm only looking at invoices. Right now I'm seeing invoices and payments and possibly credit memos somewhere, but let's only pay attention to invoices. The way to get that done would be, first of all, I'm looking on here. I'm not really going to use this. I would use the other option here where it says analysis filter. I don't know if my screen is too tiny for other people. Let me zoom in just a bit more. There you go. Okay, so there's that little option right there where it says analysis filter. I can filter on here and just pay attention to my document type, because right here, document type is showing both invoices and payments. I don't care about the payment at this point in time, so I'm going to go ahead and filter on just looking at invoices. Okay, so now of course it reduces what I'm seeing here instead of a bunch of lines for Fabricam. So I can actually even expand all. So let me expand all so that way I can make sure I'm staring at this correctly. Okay, now outside of doing that, I want to make sure I'm only looking at invoices that are outstanding. Okay, I'm seeing invoices that have been paid off. I don't care about that, so let's go ahead and fix that. To fix that, I'm going to use the same filter options here for remaining amount. Okay, and then of course, if it is less than 0, it's going to be showing. So I'm just going to go ahead and put less than 0. Okay, now I'm only seeing just my outstanding invoices here. Okay, so you can filter as much as you need to. And then if you wanted to filter on the date, okay, we'll do that in a second, but let me just make sure I'm looking at this correctly. Okay, I have all my columns here. Now I'm just gonna do myself a favor and remove all the other columns I don't really need to see right now. So let's take out document number. No, we can leave that in there. We can leave description in there. We don't need payment method code. Oh, we do need that. Let's take out all the other columns we don't need. Description. So let me expand on this real quick. Okay, so I can see the description. I was like, I don't see descriptions. So yeah, you can see the descriptions when you expand on all of them. Now, here's the thing. I know I said you don't have to do this in Excel, but it allows you to export it out to Excel. Okay. The way to do that would be to click up here. You have this other options. You can rename it. Okay. And of course, renaming it will keep it as is. And then when you go out of analysis mode and come back in, you will still see whatever you had it renamed as. Okay. Unless you delete it, of course. You can duplicate it. Okay. When you duplicate it, it's just going to, duplicate exactly what we're staring at here. You can make changes in that, duplicate, and name it something else. Okay. You can also copy link and send it to your teammates. At that point, whoever has access to Business Central will be able to see what you copy to them or send to them in this case. So now let's open this up in Excel. If I open it up in Excel, it's going to look very different. So let me see if I'm able to even open it up. Okay, so this is what it looks like in Excel, where you have Fabricam and the total of Fabricam, same thing with first up consultant and so on and so forth. So at the end of the day, make your changes, make your filter, make your groups in Business Central before you send it out to Excel. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get out of analysis mode. Just don't want to spend so much time and kill our time on this. Okay, so now I can go ahead and delete all, so that way it resets everything for me. Perfect. Now there's this little toggle right here. You can also use the pivot mode. Okay, so when you turn this little thing on, now it's pretty much making you having to work for it, where you have to choose what you actually want to filter by. Okay, 1 second, just want to make sure I'm not staring at this wrong. Oh, there it is. Okay, so back to what I'm trying to say here. So I can start off with looking at my document number, document type, but let's start with document date. No, yeah, document date month. Okay, so I'm good with that. I can start with my vendor name. So let's check that. Same scenario here, where you're trying to see open invoices for specific vendors. In this case, I'm going to go by month. And let's do 2024. So vendor name, let me drag vendor down here so that way it's showing up as columns. I'm good with that. Okay, it pretty much does the same thing with the values. I don't need to see all the values. Oh, there's another little trick about the values too. You also have this other options to, use the min, max. It's not letting me scroll. Average, count, you have those options too, but I'll just stick with the sum for now, just to keep it simple. Okay, so let me remove all the other columns I don't need. I only need original amounts and remaining amounts. There you go. So document date, document month, and I am going to filter on, let's choose document type of invoice. Okay, so I'm going to use my analysis filters here. Okay, so in this case, I only want to focus on, let's see. Oh, did I use document month? I meant document year. Where are you? There you are. Okay. So I can drag this here and actually make it make sense by dragging it up here too. So that way it's by year. So I have 2024 and 2023 here. There you go. So let's actually only pay attention to 2024. So let me go filter on my document date year and then equals 2024. Okay, perfect. Now I'm only seeing just that. Remaining amounts, I need it to be less than 0 so I can just see what's outstanding for my invoice. So let's do that. Less than 0. Awesome. So now, as you can see very clearly, Fabricam in this case for March has what? 13 invoices that are open, and pretty much the remaining amount is equals to the same as the original amount. Same thing in April. I have 2 invoices open for Fabricam in this case, and it pretty much is outstanding because that's how I have it filtered for. And then you can look through. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vendors in this case. And once you're done filtering, grouping, what you need from here, same thing applies. You can export it out to Excel. Okay, let's move on to Copilot. Okay, now let's move on. The next thing I want to talk about would be Copilot. So there's this little icon right here. You can click on it and it opens this little pane. Okay, the little pane, I really like this because it just gives you an idea of what to use Copilot for. Okay, you can find things, look up things, you can have it explain things to you, and then it can guide you too. Okay, so if I wanted to just view the prompt for find, for example, I can use all those other prompts instead of just the look up. Okay, same thing with explain, I can use all the other prompts, same thing with guide too. So if I wanted to, ask, how do I post a sales invoice, for example? Excuse me. So of course, I'm sure if you guys have used ChatGPT, you type in your prompts, you let it think and get the information for you. Same thing with Copilot here. You let it think, getting the information for you, and then it's just gonna give you steps. And then of course it gives you like 2 references, which is leading you to the Microsoft Learn website. So it's telling you, hey, you can just click, you can search for sales invoice, and then of course you can enter the invoice, put in the customer name, and then of course you post the transaction. Okay, so if you wanted to find out how many open sales invoices do I have in the system, okay, it's going to do its thing, it's going to try to find it out for you. And this is really very helpful for someone that's really new to Business Central. You pull it up, you're like, what am I trying to do here? What am I what am I supposed to do here? If you don't know about this little icon right here, the global search, it's my favorite. You can search for anything in Business Central and it will take you there. But if you don't know about it, you can just, click on this little icon, the Copilot feature, and ask your questions, and it will lead you to wherever you need to go. Okay. It also will help you with bank reconciliation, which I'm going to talk about in a second once this loads. Okay, there you go. So it's telling me, hey, you have 7 open sales invoices in the system. And then, of course, it's telling me the different customers I have. And it's even giving me a link to go directly to the sales invoice page. Okay, so if I pull it up, I will see that I have 7, just like it said. And then I can look through it as I need to. Okay. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at the bank reconciliation for a quick second here. So I'm going to search for the bank account reconciliation and pull it up. So I do have one open in here. Nice. And then you can see this little icon popping up here. It says reconcile. I'm not going to click it from there. I want to open my bank account reconciliation. There you go. So of course, opening it up. Can't speak today. Opening up my bank account reconciliation window, I can see what this looks like. I have my bank statement number, statement date. So maybe what, 3/31/2024 would make more sense because I'm trying to reconcile the month. Balance last statements. This will be the balance of the previous month. You put that in here. Statement and new balance will be the same amounts that needs to be down here. So this has to equal this before you post your reconciliation. But let's go ahead and do the reconciliation itself. So let's reconcile. So up here in the ribbon, I have under home, it says reconcile with Copilot. Okay, so when I click on this little icon here, so AI is pretty much going to help make my life better. So I don't have to, match manually or match automatically in Business Central. It's already giving me details. It's telling me, hey, the first line seems to be matching with, I think, the second line on here. So if I click on the proposal that AI is giving me, Copilot, I can drill into it. It's going to tell me, hey, it's going to apply it to this payment for that same amount. Okay, if I'm fine with that, that's good. I can review the other one. This is for $10,000, well, 10,000 plus. I can see on the right side there are two amounts that sum up to that same dollar value. Okay, I can also drill into it just to make sure it's those two lines. There you go, two deposits. So now once I'm perfectly fine with what I'm seeing, I can definitely go ahead and keep it. Okay, when I keep it, it pretty much matches it automatically for me as it should. Okay. And then of course, once you're done matching, you go ahead and do your postings as you need to and move on with, your day. Okay, so that's pretty much it about Copilot, just helping you do, look up ideas on what to do whenever you're trying to, let's say, get things done with sales invoice, posting purchase invoices, also even doing your reconciliation in Business Central. Okay, so let's go ahead and dive right into the year-end process. Let me close this little Copilot feature here. Now, year-end process in Business Central, when it comes to closing that out, you need to first of all go ahead and close your accounting period. Okay, so the accounting period, real quick, does anyone have any question before I run off into accounting periods and year-end process? So let's go ahead and search for accounting periods, and I can't spell. There it is. Okay, so accounting periods, let's pull it up. Now, first things first, I need to close out 2023, okay, because I did have postings into 2023, and the way I can tell that it's not closed yet is this little column here. The boxes aren't checked. So okay, it's so easy to close it out, so you just click close year, okay, and then of course it's going to give you this little warning. Do you want to close the fiscal year? All you need to do is click yes. It closes it out for you. You are good to go. You move on to the next thing, which is to pull up the close income statement window. So let's pull that up. Awesome. So now it pulls up this little window. You just need to fill it out, review it before you click OK. When you click OK, of course, it will take you to you pull up the general journal window and then you post. So first thing I need to verify here is I'm trying to close 12/31/2023. I'm good with that. I needed to go to the general journal, so I'm good with that too. I already created a general journal batch. Okay. That general journal batch is year end. You can create yours. You can name it whatever you want to. Okay. And then once I'm done, I can just go ahead and verify that it's going to go into my retained earnings GL account. Okay. And then I do want my balance to go into my retained earnings GL account. Now, I've had clients where they want the details to go into the GL account, but that's perfectly fine too. So I'll stick with balance for now. Posting description, let's go ahead and kindly change that to 2023. And then, of course, I have my dimension selected here. All you need to do is click those three dots. You select your boxes, okay? And then once you're done, you just click OK. So now when you click OK, it's going to generate the lines for you. And then all you need to do is pull up your general journal window. Okay. You go to the batch that you used on that window, on the close income statement window. Okay. And then there it is. Those are your transactions that got generated in 2023 in your income statement. Of course, everything is going to go into your retained earnings GL account. Okay. And then, of course, if you notice very closely, your posting date has that C. That the C in Business Central indicates that's you closing the year. Okay. So once you're done reviewing what you need to see on here, the last thing would be to post. You can preview post if you want it, but I'll just go ahead and post and click yes. Awesome. Perfect. So that's it. I just went ahead and closed the income statement and I'm good to go. And of course, just because you close out the accounting period does not mean you can't go back and post into 2023. You can, you just need to close the income statements again. Okay, so that way everything goes into your retained earnings account. Okay, that is all I have.
Yeah, that is,
Thanks for joining.
yeah, thanks for joining. That is all for us today. And thank you, Jumi and Bob, and thanks everyone who joined. Have a good day.